on now, please. Oh, they're talking to each other. I thought someone was saying for me to come on now, please. I don't know. Let me, if I lose you and we disconnect, we'll come right back. I'm going to hit something and see if we can reload site. Okay. Changes may not be saved. Let's see. All right.
I think I'm live by myself. So hi, Janice. Hi, Christine. Hi, Judy. Hi, Rana. Oh, you still can't hear? I'm seeing those.
I'm on. We're back. I just wanted to reload. All right. Hold on.
I just attempted to say hi to everybody while you were gone, but I'm not sure they could hear.
Okay, come on now, please. Okay, I'm here. Can you hear us? No. Arona's saying no. Okay.
Deb can hear.
All right. Can you hear us now? Yeah, they can. We should be reloaded and all good. I'm sorry, it was a tech, like a little blurb, like a blip or something that happened. Okay, so we've got the sunflower dream, right? Okay. And I know you can't tell us too much, but do tell us some things because you mentioned there's beautiful locations and there was an interesting thing about the schedule. So let's hear.
Okay, so the sunflower dream, and you know what I just realized? It's sunflower dreams because one of the characters in the film is having these dreams.
Gotcha.
So it's dreams plural. Anyway, so we shot the film over a period of 6 months, and it was shot only on weekends, which a lot of the indie filmmakers are doing because their regular crew are on the other shows from Monday to Friday, and then they're coming and working on indie passion projects on the side on weekends.
Nice.
So you're working with a lot of real tired folks, honestly, but it prolongs this process. And I believe I started it was in August of last year, and I was finished by the end of November.
Okay.
So it was a long run. And so you get to get very close to the filmmakers and the other cast. And I met some really wonderful people on the show. So that was kind of cool.
And what's your character's name on that one?
My character is Grace.
Grace, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so my character Grace is she has been very hurt by men in the past, and she's got a very closed heart with a wall up, and we see that part of her journey as we go through the movie, and she does open up a little. I will say that she is a writer by profession, and ends up spending a lot of time on a vineyard.
Oh, okay. So I think I read about that. And I saw some pictures, like they had a few and they looked really beautiful. And that was the thing. Like I was like, how's Sunflower and Dreams? I thought that was kind of a unique name, but I know we have to tease a little bit. Now, because that's post-production, no, right? Correct?
Yes, yeah, it's in editing now.
Okay. When do you think we would be able to see that?
I know that she is hoping for it to be finished and released in 2024. So we have a bit of a wait.
All right.
Yeah.
I saw that. I did. I saw that. That's what the date was that they had on there. And do we know like where we will be able to see it?
I don't know yet. I have heard there's been a lot of interest.
Yeah.
So I am not concerned about it not getting a great distribution deal. And it's going to be, I will say, I've seen little tiny clips. It is going to be a beautiful film because the locations were incredible.
All right. I know you got so many different things. Like we went from horror, right? Girl Gone Bad now to like this beautiful mystical kind of a movie. They're telling me my connection freezes up. Okay. On our end, it's okay. Okay. Sorry. This is so weird. I don't know what I'm having trouble with here, but we'll see. It's all right. Not a big deal. Okay. Now I wanted to ask you about like the whole process of auditioning for the part of Grace. What was that like?
Oh, okay. Well, it was long. I think I had my first audition. I submitted a self-tape in June. I went back for a callback about a month later, and I received an email from casting saying, we've decided to go a different way for Grace, but we really loved your audition, and we wonder if you would be open to taking another role. And I said, of course, if there's a match, you let me know. I'll give you another tape. This sounds like a really intriguing project. And so I didn't hear back, and I thought, okay, it's gone. That's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
And I think it was another 2 or 3 weeks later that I received another call saying, well, there's been a scheduling conflict with our first choice for Grace. Would you still be interested? And I was like, I guess I could do it.
Well, you wish you could have said, no, I'm busy. Someone stopped me.
I'm way too busy. Yeah, no. So I took it, and I'm really glad that I did. It really worked
Good.
out. So I'm excited to see more of it.
It's
Mhm.
meant to be. So, I mean, I'm sure that that happens all the time. Like we hear
Mhm.
stories of that all the time, but it was meant to be. And that's like a nice surprise, though. Like you're
Well,
thinking no, and then
I should tell you, there was another nice surprise in that the casting director actually came to set one day, and she came to me and she said, I just want to let you know the reason why we didn't pick you the first round. And I was like, oh, well, what is it? She said, we thought you looked too young.
oh,
I was like, oh, I'll take that. Okay.
yes, they can
I'll be
age
too
with
young.
makeup. What is that? Come on now. It's easier, I think, to make someone look old than to make them look young.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to like make the fuzzy, focus and whatnot. But no, that's a good compliment too. Okay, so
Yeah.
now I put that in the chat too. So we have Girl Gone Bad, Sunflower Dreams. Now we're going to talk about Lola Dust. Like, what kind of name is that? What is that title?
Dust. Lola Dust is a character. Lola Dust is a character in the film, and I mean, I guess I can probably say this.
No, don't only do if you can. We don't want you to get in trouble. So, okay.
I did check in with
Okay.
the producers before I
Okay.
told them I was going to be on here and be asked about the show. So the show, I'll go here.
Go
The
ahead.
show is about deep fakes. Are you familiar with that new
Yes.
technological thing that's
Yeah.
going on? Yeah. So Lola Dust is a deep fake.
Okay. And I think you kind of said maybe that you had something happen to you that kind of made you appreciate the whole movie, right? Not that it was like as terrible. Well, I don't know. I think anytime anybody fakes like an account or steals something, it's terrible. Yeah.
It's pretty odd. It's
Yeah.
pretty odd.
What happened?
So of course the film being about deep fakes is really about, stealing someone's persona
Mhm.
and using it for their own nefarious reasons, or I guess it could be for positive reasons, but still it's
Never.
just a negative thing, right?
Yes.
So it's interesting because it was actually during the second block of filming. I had someone made an imitation account on Instagram of me. And because I have public photos of myself, headshots and things, it was so easy for them to gather my image.
Yeah.
And so this thing that they do is they create an Instagram account of you, and then they begin messaging people in
Yes.
your followers that follow you. And they
Mhm.
say, oh, come meet me on my new page. Don't respond to the old one. It's been hacked. Which, I mean, I think I probably became aware of it within an hour or two of it
Oh, wow.
happening.
Okay.
Yes. And I was honestly, the people around me are wonderful. I kept getting emails and text messages from people saying, is this really you? Because this doesn't
Mhm.
seem like you. So I had a lot of folks just kind of bring it to my attention, and obviously they would go on and report to Instagram. And so the whole ordeal was sort of over with, I think, in about 7 or 8 hours.
That wasn't
But it
bad.
was very unsettling to not know what kind of messages were being sent, because you think about it, and there's all these people who reach out to you on these platforms that, I mean, unless they know you personally, they could easily be asking you questions or telling you things. It's just a little unsettling.
It happens so many times, especially for us that when those of us who run fan pages, we will get people come on all the time saying that they're an actor, which we know isn't true, but we could get like 4 Jack Wagners in one day. It's crazy. And we've had like the Hardy Observer, she's on right now. She's had her account actually shut down and taken away from her because people would report it because they wanted her account to be shut down. And it's now run by, something that's automated, and they can't really tell the difference. So if somebody's constantly flagging them, that's how that happens. So which all of it stinks. And I think because we've pulled and taken the human part out of it, that is what causes more of a problem. That's just my opinion. But so Lola Dust sounds like it's very like up in the times kind of, but is it like thrillerish kind of creepy?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, so Lola Dust, honestly, I've read a lot of scripts. And when I read Lola Dust, I thought immediately, I want to be in this film. This is going to be amazing.
Oh,
This
okay.
is an amazing story.
Okay.
Yeah, it also had a really funky auditioning process. Like, I don't know, it doesn't ever seem like a straight arrow. But I also submitted a self tape for Lola Dust and then didn't hear anything for a very long time and was actually traveling when I heard back from the producers and they wanted to know if I could be in a callback the next day. And I was in London, so the time difference, I just said, is it
Yeah.
possible for me to do a self tape for the callback? And they said, yes, no problem. And I just looked around this hotel room that I was in. It was so dark, there was no natural light. So I ended up finding, I know it's really, you know what, anytime, talk to any actor, anytime you book a trip, you end up getting a callback or
Of
like
course.
some kind of important audition. Yeah.
Of course.
So I ended up finding a really great place to tape in London, which they were amazing. We delivered a beautiful product to Dom and Olivier, and they offered me the role. And so it was on my flight home that I was reading Lola Dust for the first time, and I just got chills. It was wonderful.
Aw, that's great. Who was the director? You have a connection or a good story about with the director of the
The director, Dom, he is a lovely, lovely guy. My favorite thing about working with Dom is that he wants to know who you are. And so our first meeting, we just sat down and we just talked. And it was great. He's genuinely interested. And he also wants to do rehearsal. And you don't always get that. And
No.
so he just, he was so giving. And so I got to rehearse alone with him. I got to rehearse with my scene partners. Even on a day, we did a couple of rehearsals. And
Nice.
as an actor, that was just so appreciated.
That's nice. There was another actor that I was watching an interview, and he was saying that it was his friend who was the director, and he didn't want to be directed by him. He's like, "You're no, like you're my friend."
Oh,
And he's like, "Yeah, but I am." And here's the best thing: the actor also had the production company that was making this movie, and
oh.
was it a play? No, it was a movie. And he was like, "No, he didn't want it." And he's like, "All right, and it wound up being a really good experience because he had a totally different approach that he had never experienced before. And it sounds like not your same situation, but it sounds like the director had the same kind of idea, like you're saying, wants to get to know you. And he's like, "You know me."
Mhm.
Like, "No, I want to get to know you." And then, doing the practicing like you were saying. So cool. That's a cool thing, right?
Yeah, and there's something else to that too. Like there are some people that I've acted with and that I've read with that it would take me a minute to get there to
Mhm.
have them direct me, or like I have to just sort of let go of some sort of like, I don't know, ego or the way that I know them. I need to put that aside and like re-meet them as the character, because it's almost weird if you have too much closeness. I don't
Well, it's
know.
true. I remember actually, it's funny because we're going to be talking when we're finished and you tell us about the Mountie. The character, the actor Kevin McGarry actually was in more than once, but he was in a movie, one of the first, I think it was Feeling Butterflies with his fiance now. But I was like, "Oh, that must have been so easy." And they're like, "No, we had to
No.
come out as we don't know each other. Like it was more difficult. You had to like step away and get into the character." And I was like, "Oh yeah, well, you know what? That's true too." Like you don't think of it that way. No.
Mhm.
Okay. So I mean, look, we've got like lists of wonderful things coming out. You must have been like, does your family get to see you?
You know what? I have been making more of an effort lately to get over to Victoria and to see
Okay.
people, because I felt a little bit of a slowdown with the striking and everything that's happening. So I've been trying to utilize that time as much as I can, and and get
Yeah.
some good visits in.
But
Mhm.
it's also like I always say this, it's also like, you have to take it while you can, because you don't ever want to turn down any kind of opportunity that's good for you. Like when I go to
Mhm.
a restaurant and they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry, we're booked. You got to wait an hour." And I'm like, "Why are you sorry? You should be like jumping for joy that you got people that have to wait an hour." You know what I mean? Like, good for you. Not for me, but good for you.
Yeah.
It's the same, like, you don't get to see your family, but you will. It's like, not that it's feast or famine, but I guess it comes in waves. And I
It
think,
does come in waves. Yeah.
and then I think it's all about connections too. They see you, and then someone's like, "Oh, I like you were just saying, like you worked with so and so in this one, and now you're linked in that one." So there are two shorts we're going to talk about. One is The French Girl, right? And you got to co-produce that. Yes. And then
Yes.
to talk
Yeah.
about the 1 minute one, that's a contest. That's so exciting. So tell us about your role in The French Girls.
Well, French Girls was written by my friends Bethany Brown and Marshall Williams.
Okay.
And it is actually a story that's very close to Bethany.
Yeah.
It's her story that she's basically sharing as a bit of an opening in her
Okay.
community. And it's beautiful. So Bethany has been expressing this interest in directing as long as I've known her. And she's a very accomplished actor. She has a great career. But she really has wanted to get into directing. And so one of the ways to do that is to direct a short film. So then you can show that to the producers and the decision makers so that they can see, that you can tell the story.
Yes.
And so as soon as I heard that she was doing a short film, I reached right out to her and I said, I'll come and be a PA on set for the day. Like, whatever you need, I'll do it. And so she said, oh, I really need a set decorator. And I said, okay, well, I mean, I'm okay at putting a place together. I'll try. I've never done it before. So within like a couple of days of us working together, it just sort of snowballed, and I was just able to help her with more. And I had taken an intro to producing course at Vancouver Film Studio or School, and so she knew that, and just eventually came and said, "Do you just want to be an associate producer on the show?" And I said, "Absolutely." And then as things progressed and we got to camera, again, they offered me the sort of the upgrade to co-producer. So we are really, really thrilled with the outcome. The cast is amazing. We just got this incredibly talented group of people to be in the film. And it's currently in the very final stages of the edit. And I spent some time today actually working on the movie poster for it.
Okay.
So that one's going to go straight to the festival circuit.
All right. Okay. So this is good stuff. And then this is where the blessing bracelet. So we start off with, yay, you were in the blessing bracelet. And then now it has like this link to something really cool. So you're part of this 1 minute movie, which I think is amazing. And Callie is in it. Like just tell us a little of everything, and we'll go around from there. Go ahead.
Sure. Okay. So this is an ultra short film. It's a
Yes.
1 minute film. It's one of 8 top finalists in something called the Mighty Asian Movie Making Marathon, which is part of the Vancouver Asian Film Festival.
Mhm.
So we will have 1 week to shoot, edit, and deliver a 1 minute film.
Wow.
And it was written by Callie. And it's really interesting. It's also a story that is close to her. It's a story that she felt compelled to share. And
But by the way, though, we have Pink ladies here that love the show. She is I had her on before, and she is Peg. I'm pretty sure it's what her character's name is. She's like a mean girl in Rise of the Pink Ladies. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and she's a very talented dancer as well. This
Yes,
girl,
my
I'm telling
gosh,
you.
and gymnast.
Mhm.
There's a shot that I zeroed in on and I put it up. It looks like she is flying through the air, and I said to her, "By any chance, did you have like a springboard or something?" She goes, "No, that is actually me." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So she's like amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, very talented. So she's branching into writing. This is her first writing project. And she and Madonna Gonzalez Our close friends, and Madonna knew that I was starting to produce. So Madonna plays Janelle in The Blessing Bracelets. And Madonna reached out to me and said, we are in this competition. We need a producer. Will you come on board? And I said, yes, of course I will.
That's amazing.
And so we've been working on this for about a week now, just getting crew and casting it up and preparing for our locations and all of that stuff.
I know. I'm just going to share with you what some of the people were saying. And Jen was saying, wow, just getting that short together is a big challenge. I guess that's all part of the contest, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I think people think, oh, it's a short film, so it'll be less work than a regular film. It's not. You still have to go through all of the same stages. You still have to get your insurance. You still have to have first aid. You still have to get craft service. You still have to have the unions sign off on you and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a big job. It's a big job for a short film.
But it's going to be good. It's going to be cool.
It's going to be great.
I'm excited about that one. And then I'm thinking, okay, you have all this. This has been a busy year and a half, whatever, I guess, about. And then I'm thinking about all of your history before that, which is what we're going to talk about next, because I've been picking your brain and wearing you out. So I'm so fascinated by someone who is an actor, but also is something totally different. Like teacher, I could be okay with, but you were a police officer or peace officer. How do you say it? What would you say?
Well, I actually was a peace officer for 2 years.
Okay.
And then I became a police officer.
Okay. What's the difference between a peace officer and a police officer?
A peace officer, well, in the province of BC, I can't really speak for outside of our province or Canada, but here in BC, a peace officer has powers of arrest, but they do not have anything beyond that. So they don't carry a firearm. They haven't been trained to drive an emergency vehicle. So there's a lesser degree of training to become a peace officer. I became a peace officer when I was a reserve constable. And so I did that for 2 years before I actually joined.
And what does exactly a constable mean? Like, it's not a term that here in the United States we would use. We would use police officer, or actually peace officer, even more police officer of anything. Or, of course, you get through ranks with sergeant, captain, whatnot. But what about constable? What does that mean?
Constable is a rank. So when you first begin and you're at the police academy, you're a cadet. And then when you graduate from the academy, you become a constable. And then your first promotion would be to corporal. Okay. And then after corporal, there's sergeants, and then staff sergeant, and then inspectors. So there's a whole, process, a whole ladder.
So often when we think about like law enforcement, especially in Canada, especially from the show that we're watching because it's out in the frontier, we think of a Mountie. And there is a difference between a Mountie and a police officer, correct? Like different branches. Could you give us a little bit of information about that?
Of course. So in Canada, the Mounties are the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Yes.
It's a paramilitary organization and it is federal policing. So when you become a Mountie, you're a police officer all across Canada. You have jurisdiction everywhere. The RCMP also works outside of Canada. There are federal units in Germany and the United States, and they work together with agencies like CSIS and I guess with you guys, it would be FBI.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yes. The RCMP is actually very, very big and has octopus arms. It's everywhere. So what was going back to?
No, I was just asking, you're doing a fabulous job. I was just asking you what the difference was between being a Mountie and a police officer and your.
Oh, yes. My mind went straight into other stuff. Okay, so the difference is as a Mountie in Canada, you have federal jurisdiction. Right. If you are, let's say you are a Vancouver police officer, you are a police officer in the province of British Columbia. Okay. And you are trained according to the laws of British Columbia and the criminal code. But your jurisdiction ends in Vancouver.
Oh, okay. And then that's why in the show, you could be a Mountie for so many years in one spot, and then they totally move you to somewhere different. And I guess that's where that whole federal law comes and you have jurisdiction all over, correct?
Yeah, so if you were a municipal, which would be like a Vancouver police officer,
Mhm.
you would stay in Vancouver for your entire career. With the Mounties, you will move many times throughout your career. In
Oh,
mine, I moved from, well, the training is in Regina, Saskatchewan. I was in Whistler and Sea to Sky region for a while, and then I was in the Lower Mainland as well. So you do get moved around typically every 4 years.
oh, every 4 years.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, what about what you were doing? I know you were in investigation and crime analysis. Reminds me of FBI a little bit. It sounds like woohoo, like I want to hear.
Yeah, okay. Well, I started out in general duty like everyone else, and that's just patrol. You go
Right.
on the shift and you go with your watch. But throughout the time that I was a police officer, I also specialized as a crime and intelligence analyst. Um, and so that work is very different. It's very cool. There's different types of analysis work. You can do tactical analysis or strategic. Tactical is like very in the moment. So there'll be like a crime spree going on. There's a break and enter happening over here, and then two more happen over there. And you're sort of analyzing the movements of that activity. Whereas a strategic analyst would be working on much longer term. So you'd be watching one file for maybe like 2 or 3 years and
Wow.
like analyzing that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. So it's like, wow, look at you. You probably have stories that you could tell, but you can't.
I actually asked when I retired, that was my final question
Okay.
as I was leaving. I asked my inspector, what am I allowed to talk about? Like, what am I allowed to say
Mhm.
about my time here and my career? And she said, you can talk about whatever you want, except you can't talk about tradecraft. So I
Oh,
can't explain how things are done,
that makes
but
sense.
I can talk about files that I worked on or people or experiences that I had. I just can't name them or I
Right.
can't name anything that's not already
Yeah.
in public domain.
Right.
So
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's
yeah.
I'm telling you, see, right? Listen, Hearties, that you're all here. We need Micah to she's an actress and she can be a Mountie on the show. And you know what I was curious, and you may not know this answer, but I was just thinking about what year was it that women were actually accepted into like the I don't know, the force, the program. Like, do you know when that was?
Mhm. It was 1973.
What? 1973? I'm
Yeah.
thinking it was no. You know what? It
Mhm.
always amazes me how that happens. 1973. Well, for to me that there's a thing on Facebook when it says, "Oh, they're talking 30 years ago," and you're thinking 1970, and you realize it's not. It's really like not that long ago, and you got to go lay down, take a nap, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So
Yes, I
okay,
do.
1973. Was anybody in your family in police work or no? Was that something just
No, actually, I had an uncle or my dad's cousin, so I guess my second cousin, who's a defense attorney,
right?
and that's the closest. And he said, when my dad said, "Oh, Micah wants to become a police officer," he was like, "Oh, tell her not to do that." Um,
I love it
but
though.
no, we didn't. I didn't come from a police family. I actually came from a family of teachers. My mom, my dad, and my sister all worked in education.
Oh, wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Now, Dan has a question, and I think it's a good one. How did you make the jump from law into TV and movies? I think you did
Well,
TV first and then
I
law.
mean,
Yeah.
it took time. I actually
Mhm.
originally thought that I would be able to use my training in driving and fighting and shooting to get into the stunts department.
Oh,
And that was what I thought made the most sense.
right, right, right.
Um, and so I started to pursue that, and I spoke to a couple of really great, well known, legit stunt coordinators. And they both said the same thing. They were like, well, you were a police officer, you've probably already been through concussions and injuries and all that stuff. And if you join now and you become a stunt woman, you are going to be falling downstairs for the first 5 years of your career.
Oh gosh.
And a lot of stunt people actually eventually just want to get into acting. So both of them
That's
were
true.
like, just go to acting. And so I thought a lot about that before I actually joined an acting class. I just really thought that that was the natural fit for me. But then that's the thing about acting is what you think is the fit for you is rarely the fit for you.
Right. That's pretty amazing. I love it. Now, I have a question and okay, so I don't want to use you to do a spoiler, but I do want to use you to do a spoiler.
Oh my
Spoiler,
gosh. Okay.
spoiler. And you won't even know where this is coming from. So this is a question that I have. What are, and it's a big question. I've done my own research and afterwards I'll talk about it once we say goodbye to you because you've been so gracious to us. We've held you on for like 35 minutes. What are some like medals that a Mountie or a police officer would earn or be rewarded with for something that they did? I know there's like the 20 years of service. I know that.
Mhm.
But is there anything else that comes about? Like,
Well, you would have a 5 years, a 10 years, and a 20
okay.
years of service.
Oh, okay.
I had, we would have like little badges that we sewn onto our dress uniform. So one example would be I had rifles because I shot very well with the rifle. So if you
Cool.
get over a certain score,
Right.
then you get this little insignia that's like sewn onto your shirt.
Oh, like look out, you're a good shot.
Yeah. Actually, part of the reason for that is because I'm a small framed person and flexible. And when you're shooting rifle, you're often seated or kneeling or cross-legged and in all these positions. You might have to lay down on your stomach and hold it up. So it kind of depends on what type of shooting you're doing. But for our purposes, I did very well.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's pretty cool. Is it so it gets sewn onto your uniform always and you'd wear it all the time, or is that your, you have your, I'm using the wrong terminology, but when you dress up, you have like for a wedding or something, you would have one uniform, and then when you're patrolling, you'd have a different uniform.
Patrolling, yeah. So you would have that sewn onto your dress uniform, which is called
Got
the
you.
red serge. So all those beautiful wool red uniforms that you see, and the Stetson hat, those are the dress uniforms.
Cool. That is so cool. Has the uniform changed much for the Mounties, you think, over, all these years? It kind of looks the same to me, pretty much.
There was a very big change, and I can't remember what year it was, but their uniform was actually green, dark green at one point. And that was
Oh,
before they had a different name. And oh my gosh, my history is so bad. One of my girlfriends, if she
okay.
saw me on this, she'd be like, what is the matter with you? How do you
No,
not
no,
know
no,
that?
it's okay.
But yeah, they had a really dark green colored uniform. And I think it was when they were the Great West Mounted Police. And then it
What?
became,
That's right. Yes.
does that sound right to you? Yeah.
Yes. You know what? I totally forgot about that. That like just blew my mind. And then you brought it right back. Like it's something you forgot that you knew.
It's funny, right? Yeah.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
but the red serge has been certainly the only dress uniform. That was the only dress uniform I ever had.
Yeah.
It's the current one, and it's the iconic one. People know it from
Yes.
all over the world. Yeah.
There's a specific question for you because I don't want to hog up your whole night here. There's a specific question for you about formal training. They were curious to know, I guess, about acting, like acting school, or what it is that you consider to be your training. That's what they were wondering about.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay. Well, first of all, training as an actor is ongoing. It never ends.
Makes sense.
Yeah. There's so many wonderful schools here in Vancouver that I've been to. So I first started out doing training at Haven Studio. And my coach was Nelson Wong, and I did scene study with him. And I've
That's
actually been back to
amazing.
Nelson for a few different things, like
Yeah.
learning to do online auditions and Zoom auditions and things like that. So I've trained at Haven. I also trained at a school called McElroy and Associates. It's a very well-known one here in Vancouver. I've done voice training, vocal training. I've trained improv at the Groundlings. I've recently been doing a lot of workshops, which is a different type of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I think I grew the most in a class with a teacher by the name of Deb Podolsky. She trains tons of actors here in Vancouver and probably elsewhere. So I think for me, I will always train. There will always be something. The voice is incredibly important. The body is incredibly, your movement, the way you hold yourself, your stillness, and then the technique. I just had a breakthrough within the past year of being able to find the right emotional source for myself to really be able to tear up and get the big cry going in a scene, in a character. That took me 4 years to figure out and to tap into. So, and that actually, I should give credit to I have private coaching from Shane Savage, who just opened his own school called Sonder Acting School. So yeah, I would say that if I'm not in actual acting class, it's because I'm acting or now producing.
Right.
But as soon as there's a break, I'm back in class.
I like hearing that. As a teacher, I have to have so many hours, and I tell my students when they have off, I'm like, I don't have off. They're like, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to school. They're like, you have to go to school. I'm like, you have to still go to school all the time. We have something, that we have to learn. But you seem like it excites you still, which is nice. Does it excite you? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you love when you said you just tapped into something like for you to be able to cry, right? Don't you love when you learn, like, don't you want to run out the next day and then go try it out?
Oh yeah, I sure do.
I know. I love that feeling.
And I want to I want to rewatch the tape. I want to see what it looked like. I want to talk to my coach about it, and I want to tell my friends who've seen me struggle to do that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. Before we let you go, because I have monopolized so much of your time, this has been wonderful, and I thank you. I want to share some comments and fun little questions.
Okay.
The Hardy Observer says, "Are there awards for courage or valor?" That's what she's saying. Are there?
Yeah, we would call that a commendation.
Okay, that's true. We do that. Yeah. And Arlene says, "How long is the training to be a Mountie?" I remember you sent me some notes on that.
Yeah, the actual training at the Cadet Academy in Regina was 6 months.
Okay.
But then once you graduate from that, you're on probation. You go on the road with a field coach for another 6 months.
Okay.
So you're having to sort of do a variety of different types of investigations and respond to different kinds of calls for service in that first 6 months period. And then once you've accomplished that, you are officially kind of like on the road by yourself, and you get a little pay increase, and you are very independent at that point.
Wow, pretty nice. This has been wonderful. Look, I'm going to share what Chelsea says. This is what Chelsea says. Wow.
Oh, Chelsea.
You've been wonderful for us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. We're going to be looking out for all these goodies. I put them in the chat, which it stays there and it shows up so whoever tunes in can see it. And I don't know if you have, I'm just looking. Did you have any questions for us or no, I think we're okay. Just trying to show off. I know you can see too.
I've got something is starred there.
I got that's the jump into.
You got that? Okay.
Yes.
Well, hey, you guys can find me on Instagram. That's my main social. I just joined Threads. I don't know. It seems quiet.
I heard about that. Tell me what Threads is, because Stephanie Beaumont has been going all around. Do you know who Stephanie Beaumont is?
I feel like I know the name.
She's a media person for like Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. Like she's what has the name the Atlantic Curator, but she does she's like a media person interviewing behind the scenes, that kind of stuff. And she's been talking about Threads. What is Threads?
It's a chat app, and it's very similar to Twitter, except there's no hashtags. So I'm still scratching my head trying to figure out, I want to talk about the entertainment business.
Right.
So I want to maybe travel and food. And like, I don't know how to find all of that content yet.
You know what's funny?
So,
I could see why she would. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I could see why Stephanie Beaumont would be on there because that's what she does. That's what she does. Like I've been watching her, and I'm like, if I ever take a trip to that area, I'm going to watch all her things that she has out on social media because it's like I have a tour guide, and I'm going to know where to go and what to do. So that's pretty cool. Threads, right? Yes, Threads is
mhm.
Facebook's version of Twitter. Okay, Lillian, that's what that
Yeah.
is. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically what it is. So
All
I'm
right.
trying that out. I've been on it for a couple days. We'll see. But Instagram is where I post about my film stuff, and
All right.
I'm on it almost every day, really. Let's be
Oh,
real.
I'm excited. Okay, and then we know where to find you on Instagram because it's your name, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, just by
Yeah,
my name. Yeah.
yeah. And we know it's not a fake account, right? Because you already took care of that. Do
I
you have a page?
know. I did,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's interesting, like after this whole the imitation account happened, they messaged me and said, "Would you like to be verified?"
Yes, good.
And I
Good.
said, "Yeah, I think probably."
Yes, that's perfect. I actually had to get verified because I actually only did it on my own personal account with my own name. I didn't do it on the Everything About Hallmark account because that was a bigger process and I didn't have a minute to do it. And I probably will, but you have to now because people are just doing crazy stuff. Emily, by the way, Emily has she's I don't know if she's admin, moderator, whatever it is, runs fan pages and we share all kinds of Hallmark stuff and things on it, and especially for When Calls the Heart. But she's saying, thank you for sharing all that information and for your time. They all are. They're all saying, here's
Oh,
Chelsea. Thank you. I'm wondering which position you get to ride. Oh,
oh,
okay.
the musical ride.
Yes, yes. That's
Yeah.
a question.
And
Yeah.
I actually have taken English horseback riding lessons, so I wasn't on the musical ride, but you never know. I could be on film on a horse one day.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Ava says this has been very informative. So much
Oh,
joy
good.
and thank you. Yes, so we fell in love with you in the blessing bracelet. Now we've got all this amazing stuff. And then you shared all this goodies for us. I'm so happy and excited that you're here. And I'm going to keep my eye on you and you'll have to come back.
Okay, thank you so much, Roxanne.
You're welcome. All right, you have
Thanks
a
to
good.
everyone else who came on and chatted with us. It's so nice to see that you're all out there.
There's 65 logged in, meaning they could comment, but there's others here that there's probably about 100 that are here. So they're all watching and loving it. So this is
Oh,
good.
good.
And if you need
Great.
a clip of any of it, you can clip it, or if your people need anything, let me know and I'll share. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You have a good one.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye for
Bye.
now.
Good night. Okay. All right, friends. I'm running a little longer than before, but she had so much to share. So now we got to jump in and talk about what's happening with Nathan. Oh my gosh, I'm very excited for his story this year. And y'all could be chatting. When I get by myself, I get a little weird. I'm like, I'm by myself talking to myself, but you can all hear me and you can tell I'm hyper because I have been on here forever. I was on prior to that. Oh, your Instagram. I'm just going to share what Arlene's saying. Your Instagram followers can be linked to Threads. Thank you. Y'all know way more than I do about this. I'm going to ask Stephanie tomorrow night more about it. She'll be my guest. All right. So we got to go. We got to talk about not what's this like? So pumped for Nathan's story in season 10. And Emily saying, Level, not me waving at the screen, forgetting I can't be seen. Oh, that's funny. All right. Okay. So let me click that off. My goodness. Please just put stuff in the chat here. So I was trying to figure out, I don't want to use people. And I was trying to figure out what that medal that Nathan could be getting. And it is square. It doesn't have the point. And it is bluish, looks like blue. Sometimes it looks purple, but it looks like it's blue, yellow, like 2 yellow stripes, 3 blue stripes. When I go and look it up, and it's TV, so they could put whatever they want out. But when I saw that one, it was for 20 years of service. They have one for police and one for Mountie. So I'm not sure, but I think it has something to do with what Erin said, because Erin was telling Deidre that there is a little bit of a jaw dropping moment. And I really think that life or death moment has to do with Nathan. I'm not saying he has a life or death moment, but I'm saying, yeah, the Hardys, she said she's tried to look it up and we've I know. I'm thinking to myself, if anybody found it, it would be Julie, because she is the investigator from Suspenders Unbuttoned. And she's like super smart. So if she found anything, she would have put it out there. But she might even know. I don't want to you don't want to put people on the spot and just make them uncomfortable. But I really think it has to do with him doing something, of course, amazing and courageous. And I think this is our link in with yes, I know, Jan, he is not old enough for the 20 years of service. And it would be something way more exciting than that. It has to be something amazing that he did. And so Nathan needs an amazing storyline. Last year, he was beat up and bruised and a bit of a transformation, just a bit of his personality. And I love that they put a lot more humor, because he does great with humor. But I want him to have like Mountie stuff, Mountie, and a big giant romance. Okay. And I think that's what we're definitely going to get. So let's go back to this whole metal thing. I think that from what he said, Kevin, and what he's teased to us, that it is also linked, or it introduces a storyline that's connected with Mark Brandon, who is going to be, he's a governor. And I remember Mark, when I had him on, he said, coming into Hope Valley, everybody's excited, but they can't wait for him to go. And he's only on for 2 episodes. So I think that he's not going to be a good guy. And I also think somehow, some way, there's also going to be some underhanded stuff going on from people visiting and coming to see the springs. And I was wondering, what if in the night, someone brought this up, what if at nighttime, either children or somebody sneak into the hot springs and almost drown? What if something like that happens? And I do know I'm just putting this out here. I'm not saying, this is just what we know. And then I'm trying to play with it. And you tell me what you think. What about he goes on a camping trip, right? And he goes with Allie, which is great. They go camping. What if something happens while they're camping? It can't just be them bonding. There's got to be a storyline. And then Scout's coming. There's got to be a storyline with Scout. I remember when they had Rip, and Erin was supposed to take care of Rip, and Rip got scared and he ran into the cave, and she ran into the cave and she got hurt. And that whole time when she and Jack kind of rolled on the ground and kissed, they had that whole moment by the fire. I feel like Scout is going to somehow have lead Nathan into a storyline. I don't know. I just do. What are you people thinking? What are we saying here? Did we freeze? It says, I'm here for Mountie stuff and romance too. Scout is definitely going to save the day with Nathan somehow. Yes. But what about they go camping and something happens while they're camping? And what about those springs? Do you think someone could get hurt or injured? Especially the kids. You know what was funny? Last year, the only things that we got to see behind the scenes were people in the woods. And I was like, what in the world's going on in the woods? Everybody's in the woods this year. Deb's saying, okay, Mark actually answered me when I speculated that he was going to try to use his political power to mess with the hot springs. And he said that that I was real close. Yes, maybe take away the because he's a governor, maybe take away the what is it? The rights of it, because it's bringing in money, right, to the town. Maybe take that away from them, and the money would go to something else, or to the county, or I don't know. They don't have counties. I'm from the States. Please forgive me. And I live in Jersey, where we have a whole bunch of counties in our tiny little state. So I think, let's see, Karen, I think Lucas will help Nathan train Scout. Well, maybe because he loves dogs and he always talks about dogs. Maybe. I just love the dog-ish, like the whole that he has a dog and the dog is a misfit. He says, come, and the dog goes. This is so great. Emily, what are you saying? Let's hear it. I think the story with Allie's dad is unfinished, so maybe he tries to kidnap Allie. I don't know, just throwing stuff out there. I love it. That could go on in the woods. Something's going to go on, but I also think there might be a mishap with there's like a potential for, I don't know. They're all fascinated with those little poles, and I don't know. What if someone gets hurt? I don't want anybody to get hurt, but and Aaron also said it's life or death, but for a minute, and it's more about life, not death. So I was trying to like get that all together. I really do think though, because some of the actors said it, that these new people that are coming to town that are visitors or whatever, there's that whole idea of it being like the fountain of youth kind of water. So people are probably greedy. And I know it's attracting some unsavory people. So I love that because that means that Bill and Nathan will be doing Mountie stuff, which is great. And I like that because they've done it in the past where the special guests will come on, have that storyline, and then go, which I love. And yes, Allie's dad is in jail, but he could always break out of jail, couldn't he? You never know. And yes, maybe that's why Nathan's getting a award. That's what I was thinking. There were a couple of new people who they hinted that were trying to cause trouble. Yes, there's one gentleman. He's a famous actor. I can't even think of his name. And there's a woman with blonde hair. And apparently, one of them that comes to visit tries to stay. That was in one of the write-ups. So I'm just happy that Nathan's doing Mountie stuff, and I'm glad that the storylines are, I mean, I don't know. They're what they should be. I don't want to be rude, but yay. All right, so let's talk about Nathan and romance. So, I really think that it's Nathan and Faith. I really did do. I had a long time to think about it, and I think this is where it's going. There was a conflict of interest that Faith felt because Nathan was her patient, but he isn't anymore. And she does have feelings, and I know she's friendly with May, and they're bonding, and the three girls are going to live together. By the way, I really think that they are living at in the cafe upstairs, and there are several rooms up there. I remember at a time when Elizabeth lived there. So Elizabeth had a room, the kids had a room, and of course, Abigail had a room. So there's more than one or two rooms up there. And then even remember when Clara lived up there, and Abigail and all them. So there's several rooms up there, which is nice, and there's plenty of room for all of them. Nathan and Faith, I know a lot of you are saying that. I truly think that for what I've been seeing, I don't think it'll be dragged on in the sense where who's it going to be? That's nonsense. I really think it's going to be them. I love them because they're both first responders. What a great story. Their relationship I think it's the most exciting. Listen, I know a lot of people wanted the Mountie with the teacher, but the Mountie with the doctor is better, okay? All right, what's the heart? What's Teresa saying? I have to be honest, as a Nathan fan, seeing Nathan and Faith's chemistry was what helped me to move on after first love triangle. Okay, I get that. And that's the thing. That's what I mean. They get each other's humor. They talked about that. They've invested too much. Now, here's what I really think is going to happen with May and Nathan. I think that they're going to be really good friends. I think that they have so much in common with, horseback riding. And she is to me like a mature version of Allie. And I think they'll have like a brother sister friendship, which I love because he'll like maybe share with her. I don't know. But the scene, this is one of the best scenes that they showed us so far, is he's got great comedic timing, Kevin. When he's walking with Fiona, and Fiona's like, "Oh, we don't really talk about you, not much." And he's got his head back, and he's like, "Oh," like he's so done, like he he's like, "Oh my gosh, why me?" kind of thing, which I love. I love that. I love that he's had that opportunity. I think I really am not. I'm very much against and not, let me rephrase this. I really don't think it is May and anybody. We don't have to start pairing up the whole world. It's not a soap opera here. I think that when we first meet a character, they don't normally hurry up and pair them off with someone. And someone said, "Oh, what about Lucas when they did this with him and he saw Elizabeth in the road and Nathan saw her?" And I'm like, "No, they still weren't dating. That was still not, they went through seasons of that." And even with Rosemary and Lee, they went, a while before they paired them up. I think we need to get to know May, and May needs to have some dents and bruises and live a little before they are pairing her up with someone. And I just think that she will be a very good friend with the girls, which I love seeing the little girl gang, and taking Allie under their wing, which I had predicted a long time ago that all the women would be coming together to be, Allie's mom is what I called it. Um, I think May has her own storyline that's coming up. Some things she has to deal with from her past is still going on, and then her friendship. But I really think this is going to be about Faith and Nathan. I really do. And the dog, like I said, oh my gosh, is just a wonderful added little note. Now, I talk like a maniac, so I did the thing about the award. I love the whole humor. The camping trip, that was my idea that something's going to go down when that happens. Um I was the idea of what if somebody gets hurt in the springs, and you know Mountie Nate comes for some help. What's this here, Christine? I think May and Mike are going to be best of friends. Yeah, they can be. I think so too. I see some dancing going on and some friendship and fun. Um, Now, I know I was focusing mostly on Nathan and those that surround him. What do y'all think about Allie? They haven't shared much about the kiddos, and they haven't shared much about the kiddos. What do you think about Robert's whole family is coming back, right? Now with Robert's whole family coming back, we're going to have his sister is in school now, and we see the mom and the father there. I'm wondering what Robert's storyline is going to be. I felt like he was like a child all by himself. He lost his parents, but thank God they're back. Do you think Robert and Allie are still going to carry on with their relationship, or you think they're going to mix that one up? I don't know. Okay, Hickam has been on for 10 years. He needs a love interest. I like I like all the background stuff he does too. Yes, I think Rosemary and Allie could bond over being daughters of Mounties too. Yes. And I think it is often swept under the rug that her father was a Mountie. It is. Why did we lose that? I was talking about this in one of my videos I did a while back. When it comes to Rosemary, all of the characters, we have the characters that have been in for a while, we know and have met people from the past. So we have known and we have met only the friend of Rosemary's. Other people were connected to Jack because their families were good friends, and Jack's mom, treated Rosemary like a daughter. That's why I was like, why isn't she ever coming back? Where are you, Brooke Shields? Come back. So I would like to know more about Rosemary's background, and I don't want her to forget that her father was a Mountie, and that would be great. That whole connection between Allie and Rosemary. We should say that and put that out there. And Carrie's saying yes, that Allie and Robert will still be together. Okay. Let's see. I'm literally so happy they gave Nathan a dog and that Allie and Nathan are going camping. So am I. We need to see that. I feel like she was shipped off. He never got to see her, and the whole scheduling was a little weird. Let's see. Emily, what we got? I would like to learn more about May and her role as a in the pharmacy. I think watching her form connections with the community will be a good lead into season 11. I do too. I feel like this is her year of like discovery. Yeah. And yes, there is a scene with them dancing, and that's okay. Yeah. Um, yes, I agree, Emily. You're like on fire here tonight. They have a lot of relatability there. Two people with a heart of service. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, the Mountie and the teacher, fun and exciting, but no. What's exciting is the Mountie and the doctor. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah. Yes. You're right. May hasn't specifically said that she has feelings for Nathan, so it would be pretty easy for the writers to move Nathan and May towards a friendship. You're correct. She was there for him to help him heal. They love horses. She knows a lot about horses. She has that fiery spirit. He helped her with protecting her, and so did Bill with the divorce or no, going to jail where they never married, whatever, with that crazy husband of hers. So, yes. And I love the friendship that's being formed between Faith and May and now with Fiona. That's amazing. Let's see. Christine, what are you saying? The Mountie that brought scouts looks young. Maybe Nathan needs to watch out for him and Allie. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if Allie decided she wanted to be a Mountie? That's why I was like, wouldn't that be fun for Micah to have that role? But gee whiz, 1973, when females finally were able to be, a Mountie. That's crazy. All right. Do you think Allie's going to be Rosemary and Lee's nanny? Do you think Rosemary's going to have a nanny? I think strapping that kid on her back and taking that baby everywhere. By the way, I think she's having a girl. I'm just saying. I think, Teresa, you were having a little fun catch up yesterday. And I know half of us were saying girl, half of us were saying boy. You know what? I have a question. People were saying, oh, it'll be a boy and they'll name him Patrick after his Lee's brother that passed away. I thought that Lee's brother that passed away, his sister named her son after him. I thought that name was already taken. I don't know. That's just what I thought. That was in my mind. I could be losing it. I don't know. Okay. I think I've covered all the good stuff that they put out there for us. It's kind of all connected. Let's see. I love the idea of the three of them living together. Oh my gosh, they're going to torment him. I think it's great. And I can't wait to see the dancing. I want to see a scene where he and Faith dance together. I want to see it. There was a scene, it looks like they're in the woods again, where she falls and he kind of catches her, and it's very dramatic, like, in a dramatic dance. I mean, that looked good too. Okay. All right. Thank you, Valerie. You are correct. Lee's sister did name her son Patrick. Okay. I remember when Kevin Smith was on, he said that that the name, they didn't know what the name was going to be. And then Pascal texted him the name and he's like, oh, that makes sense after they heard it. So I'm wondering if it's like something like, well, it's not going to be Faith, but what if it's something like Hope or something beautiful like that? Or maybe there's more to this storyline that we don't know, and then that'll stand out and we'll find out. I don't know. I'm thinking. Yes, she says, I need Nathan and Faith to dance together now. Yes, we're having a dance. If those two do not dance, I'm going to smack some people. Okay. Everybody needs to dance. I want to see Lucas and Elizabeth dance. Okay. I've been waiting for that since the first time they dance. Yeah. There will be a question as to who owns the hot springs. Hence, the governor decision interest may be the issue. Yes, 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 yes. I know, and then they can't wait to get rid of him. So, of course, they're going to be able to keep it. The springs. You know what confused me a bit, and maybe you can all help me with this. I thought that the foundry was not going to be built. But then in the press release, it says the foundry is going to be built. And it said something else that threw me. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought all of that was taken care of. It was the foundry and one other thing. And I don't remember what the other thing was. Let me know in the comments. So they are going to build a foundry. I mean, it's supposed to bring money to the town. I don't know. Let's see. Nathan and Allie go camping to talk about her mother after Rosemary gives birth. That makes sense. Because I think it's episode 5 that they do, and it's episode 4 where she gives birth, right? Okay, what's this? That was actually a mistake in the press release. Yes, that is what I thought too. Thank you. Because I was like, wait a minute, those two things are there's changes coming. That's from last year. I agree. Thank you. I thought I was cuckoo on that. They forgot to delete it. Okay, good. Okay, I thought so. And no one else said it except teacher me. They forgot to edit. All right. As someone in oh, I wanted to see this. As someone, Emily, you're in healthcare. Okay. As someone in healthcare, I relate so much to faith. Although I'm not a nurse or a doctor, I can relate to having a limited amount of people who truly understand the trials of the job daily. Yes. Yes. And you know what? Why has Faith been so unlucky and loved that character? Did they realize they tortured her in all the different relationships that she's had? She needs love. I love her. She's like one of my favorite characters. I love Andrea, actually, the actress. She's a doll. She is so much fun to talk to. I think actually, Teresa, you just did an interview with her. Kudos to you because I wanted to do one and she was too busy. But yes, I love her character. I she needs a big great romance. I know I love Paul and I love, him, but I didn't feel like those two had a big great romance. And the way they started to write him in the end, where he was like a little, I don't know, not supportive of her being a doctor, he wasn't. The writing just annoyed me. So now we've got these two together, and now Paul can come back, which is not Paul the actor, and stir up a little bit. But yes, Andrea and Kevin, they'll bring the chemistry. It's going to be good. It's good. You know what? It's not a prediction. I'm just saying it. Okay. That those two are a couple. Yeah, they kind of did fall off that wagon they were always riding on, playing the guitar and singing. All right. I'm still angling for a Colleen flashback. Okay. All right. They are what? They are a mess in the end. Yes, they were. Paul not thinking that a doctor was needed in town. Yes, 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 yes. The character Faith matured a lot in season 9. She did. She did. And I loved how she wanted the town to pay for things, but because she put her own shingle out, that wasn't happening. Yeah. All right. My theory about Faith being in so many failed relationships is that her issues, yes, with her dad led to her to seek the wrong kind of men. You are correct. And they did a lot with that actually. Carson was her reason for fixing that bond. Nathan is her lifetime. Ooh, I like what you did there. I like what you did there using those words. Yes. And Nathan caught her this season. That's right. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. It's going to be good. And I love that he's doing Mountie stuff. A cup for when season 8 ended and we went into season 9 and they were giving us a lot of stuff. And I saw that soul patchy thing. I was like, Nathan's going undercover. I was swearing to it, right? And I was so wrong. He didn't. But then I thought about it and he was like, he did. With that soul patch and that mustache, he was like different. And I think he was trying to figure out who he was. I'm glad he went kind of back to who he really was. But I think that's what that was. It kind of was him undercover for himself. And I was okay with that. But I was like, where is the Mountie stuff? I needed Nathan to be a Mountie. Isn't that what he is after all? Because in the season before that, all he did was keep running back and forth because the other town needed him, which makes sense now because a Mountie has jurisdiction everywhere, which also makes sense is why he kept moving so much. Remember in the beginning when he had Allie and now he gets to stay here. So I love that we learned all of that tonight. Okay. All right. For Nathan, Elizabeth was his season. May was his reason for healing. And I think Faith is his lifetime. It is. We're just saying it is. That's all done now. We know that. We know that. Watch us be wrong. No, we're not wrong. We're not wrong. Who's leading the exercise classes? You know what? I was wondering about that because do you remember in the past who was leading the exercise classes was he had to cover for her. It was Carson and he had to do calisthenics with the kids and everything. So I don't know. And remember, Faith and Andrea, they were pregnant for most of the filming of season 10. They were, but she did. I talked to Deb. I talked about this and how they hid it. And it was easier for them to hide it because they knew right away that she was pregnant. And it was different than when she was pregnant. She made it through and then had the baby, where when she was pregnant the first time, she actually had to leave in the middle and come back. So costumes and things were a little bit different, but she's not leaving this season. She's there the whole time. Yeah. Um, Hickam is leading the exercise class. Okay, Hickam who does everything. And they also said there'll be more inventions. And then did you see they had the bathing suits in the mercantile? I know we went off the track of Nathan. I'm sorry, but this is my last one. The next I'm not doing anything next week because I'm going to do something with my kiddos, but the next Wednesday we are going to have our Hardy pajama party. It's the Wednesday before Sunday where it premieres, and we're going to talk about our hopes, wishes, and dreams. Everybody that's coming on, Deb Johnson is coming on, and I reached out to different admins and different people that are always out there or have their own blog. The Hardy Observer is coming on, and Christina, who is the admin for Chris McNally's page, is coming on, and I'll be there, and Kathy will be there. And you girls send me your whatever you want me to post. So I'm going to start posting that up. And then, so it won't be next week, but the following week. So come with all your hopes, wishes, and dreams. I don't care how outlandish they are, unless you say to me, okay, I won't take this. Don't even put this in the comments. Do not tell me that Jack comes back from the dead, because that's not happening. It's not that kind of show. Okay. Yes. Yay, I'm excited. I'm excited too. I put feelers out for all kinds of people to jump on, but of course, there's conflicts of interest. Some people were nervous. Some people said no because I'm afraid that if I'm on too much, then their media will be stolen again. And I'm like, I understand it all. Okay. What do you think happens between Nathan and Lucas this season? And Christina's saying she was thinking the same things. Let me put a star there. Lucas and Nathan. I don't know. I think they just continue to go on with their lives. I think that they'll be friends, and they live. I mean, the jail's right across from where he is in the center of town. They'll see each other a lot. I don't know if they'll have a big giant storyline. I'm not sure. But I think it'll be fun and funny, especially if he helps him out with the dog. Because not that Nathan can't take care of the dog, but he has a lot of things that he needs to do. But we know that Chris likes dogs. Actually, I said Chris. We know that Lucas likes dogs because he's talked about it. So let's see. What was the other thing? What do you think is going to happen? Someone had Brian. I was thinking the same thing. Maybe he will be the manager for the Queen of Hearts. Who? Who's going to be the manager? Nathan? Or do you mean, you know what? Henry looks like he's walking around doing community service. Did you see that? He's got his little toolbox going around. I don't think anything needs to be forced between them. I assume they will work together for the community storyline and whatever else. Yeah, I do too. I don't know like that has to be a thing at all. Yeah. All right. Thank you. We went over a little bit. This has been amazing. And so we'll see each other on what date is that? The 20 something. What is it? The 30th, the 29th, 28th, 26th? Is that what it is? I'll put a link out soon. And that's when we'll have us on. We're going to play I'm going to make my guests play the official Hardy's game, which is there really is an official Hardy's game that was made. It's called the bundle, the Hardy bundle. The one calls the Heart bundle, and make them act it out and have a good time. And you help us, and we're all going to talk about what we wish for. Okay, what we wish to see. All right. Yes, the 26th. Thank you, Deb. All right. Anybody want to add anything else? Maybe Lucas will show LJ how to train a dog, hence Lucas working with the dog. Maybe. We know. I'm just happy there's a dog back on. So here's me trying to look up the dog. I'm like, oh my God, I want to have the dog as a guest because I'll be doing my recapping on Mondays with Kathy. I need to have the dog on as a guest. That would be so great. So I got to try to find, if anybody knows who Scout is, because he's not in the credits, I would like to know, because I'm going to call up Scout's handler, and have Scout on. That would be fun. All right. I hope I didn't leave out anything important that any of you had to say. Now we have a little insight into, a Mountie's life and what it takes to be a Mountie. I thought that was nice. And I loved that Micah said she would come on. Yeah. His bike is electric? Ned's electric bike rental for visitors will be something funny or dangerous. Oh, let's hold on for a second. I didn't realize it was electric. Before we go, this is important. I remember Elizabeth and many of them when they had to give the one word, they said boom and kaboom and stuff like that for last year, which kind of gave it away. But this time they said electric. They said it would be a lot of them said that. So I was trying to figure out about electricity, even though they have it in some capacity there. I was thinking what was going on. There must be something going on. Do you see where Hickam is in there? And I don't know who it is, Fiona, somebody's touching something and she gets zapped when they're inside the Queen of Hearts. I saw that. And now you're telling me these bikes are electric. I'm wondering if there's sort of like a parlor trick or some kind of you didn't think that they were electric? Okay. Some kind of funny thing going on with like something was spinning and I don't know. Yes, this is true. Yes, of course, there's a scene with the radio. Yes, which we know. We love that. Okay, I do know that. And they said there was a lot of music this time around. We all thought people were singing and dancing, but not in the way we thought. They're actually going to dance like friends and couples and have a party and that kind of stuff. All right. I truly thought, let's do this for parting. I truly thought that it would be episode 2 or 3 would be the 100th episode. And that's because of what Kevin said. He had just finished filming and he wasn't sure if it was 2 or 3. And now people are saying, oh, I think it's going to be 5. I don't think it's that far in. I think it's episode 2 or 3. And I'm curious to know what's happening. I don't know. Hopes, wishes, and dreams next time we all get together. All right. You have a good night. Thanks for having this, Roxanne. I had a blast. Looking forward to season 10. I'm so excited to see what's in store for Nathan this year. Me too. I am right there with you. And I love his sense of humor that he gets to bring out. Gustav. Yeah, I haven't seen him. You know what? I'm going to write to his agent. I had wanted to have him on before. I'm going to ask and see what they say. Aaron said that there will be singing as well. Yes, there will be. But we were thinking of I was thinking someone on stage and that kind of stuff. Maybe because the radio's there. Maybe there's like karaoke before there was karaoke. Bye, Deb. Okay, everyone. Good night. Good night. Yes, Rona, me too. Me too. We all are. We all are. Yay. You're welcome, Martha. Thank you for all stopping by. All right, I'm going to say good night for real. See you later.